Arna Mačkić is an architect and co-founder of Studio LA, together with Lorien Beijaert. And she's also former head of architectural design at the Gerrit Rietveld Academy, as well as the author of Mortal Cities and Forgotten Monuments.
Yes, thank you. I will also share my screen. So yes, like Kenny said, I'm Arna Mačkić, part of Studio LA, and we actually use architecture as a tool to research different societal issues. We're mostly focused on inclusion and exclusion mechanisms through architecture, housing of refugees, public space. We initiate projects ourselves a lot because, especially I think, like in most countries, as it's in Netherlands, also that if you deal with societal issues as an architect, you have to initiate projects yourselves because you're not commercial like most clients would like you to be. I will give you two examples of two projects in which I try to research architecture as a tool for peace building. And the first one is my design research called Mortal Cities and Forgotten Monuments. It's about the Balkan area, the area of former Yugoslavia, and I focused on Mostar in Bosnia-Herzegovina specifically. I researched the role of architecture in forming a collective identity, and especially in public space in three different periods. So after, right after Yugoslavia was formed as a country, after the Second World War, in the 90s during the war, and after the war till now. And this resulted in a book which was also published in Bosnia and Serbia and Croatia. I will go briefly to what to be like kind of brief in the subject. So in Mostar, particularly during the war, architecture has been used as a tool during the war, exactly like Charles said, a weapon of war, because in Mostar 70% of the buildings was destroyed during this last war, and the focus was especially on cultural and public buildings, because the aim was to destroy a certain identity to then, after the war, give a new identity to the city, which was a more segregated one. And one of the biggest symbols of this destruction of this identity, because Mostar was actually one of the most mixed cities with the most mixed marriages. It was always a very tolerant city, and the old bridge, Stari Most, was a symbol of this. And this bridge was destroyed. And actually no one expected it to be destroyed, because it survived a lot of different conflicts throughout different centuries. But at the end it was destroyed by Croat military, by the Croatian military. And the message by destroying it was actually, if we destroy the bridge, Mostar will cease to exist, and everything it stands for, this identity of connection between the two sides, this connection between Muslims and Catholic Croats. So this was the image of the bridge after it was destroyed. This was the image of the city. And the help bridge was made quickly right after. And now the bridge in 2004 was rebuilt exactly as it was before, with the same stone taken out of the same mountain. It only looked a bit whiter than it was before the war. It was rebuilt with help of UNESCO and money of a lot of different European countries, but it was more a symbolic act because this bridge is no longer a symbol of connection, but it's a symbol of division because the city is now divided into two. So on the one side of the bridge, people with a Muslim background live, and on the other side, people with a Catholic Croat background live, and they all have their own schools, own hospitals, own telephone network, own fire department, own football clubs. So everything is double in the city, but everything is for their own group of people. And yeah, what you see here is also that this whole area became a whole touristic area, which is actually not an area where people that live in Mostad hang out a lot. And also the war is being used as this selling point, actually. But if you walk 50 meters into one or the other direction, you come into a city that is still divided, and still there are a lot of buildings that are an evidence of the war. So this is like a common image of what you see in Mostad, how the streets look like. So the war is actually everywhere around you, and I also focused a lot on monuments, researching monuments in former Yugoslavia, because they were also used after the country Yugoslavia was formed by the socialist leader Tito as a way to bring people together again. And these monuments were had actually a very particular design language, which was a more of an abstract futuristic language with no symbolism of political leaders or certain symbols of certain figures or political ideology, because they had to be for everyone, for all these different religious groups in Yugoslavia. And one of these very important monuments is in Mostar, called the Partisan Cemetery, designed by Bogdan Bogdanovic, which was a very beautiful monument because it did not only refer to this kind of futuristic, abstract, beautiful future, but it also had a lot of archaic and ancient symbols that also refer to the city of Mostar, like the pebbles and the stones and gates. Here you can see a bigger image, and it was a whole landscape design. And I think this method of Bogdanovic, referring to something ancient, to something archaic, instead of only something futuristic, but to something so old that everyone can relate to it, I thought it was a beautiful method that I also wanted to kind of research if I could also try that out. But the monument now is vandalized a lot. So these are gravestones that are kind of thrown over the place. You see a lot of fascist signs. So on the right side, you see this U and a plus, and that's a sign that is used by fascist Croat groups. But you also see swastikas all around the place, and the entrance of the monument, it has been set on fire many times. So this is a bit the situation in that Mostar is now in, the state of the city, which is horrible, of course. And I wanted to see if I could make a proposal for the public space of the city that is not based on division of all these groups, but as a point of connection. And I wanted to do it in this area. This is the central zone, which you see here on the map, and this is a more of a closer look on the map. The light gray area is the area where people with a Catholic Croat background live, and the other gray area is where people with a Muslim background live. And this white area is actually a neutral zone defined by the European Union as a zone which belongs to both groups, because it's so ethnically divided. They said it's important to have like common institutions in that area. That area looks like this. So actually not a lot is happening because none of the groups wants to wants to do anything there because they say we don't relate to it. It's not our site. Only the gymnasium, the orange building you see is reconstructed, also exactly as it was before. But also there, students have are divided in their classes. So on the first floor, it's Muslim kids having class. First floor, it's Catholic kids, and then the third floor is an international school with kids from different conflict zones, which is also, strange that they can have classes together, but people in Mostar, kids from Mostar, not. And on the left side, you see a concrete foundation, and that is the start of a Croatian National Theater that they start building, but the construction stopped because the European Union said this is a common zone. It should be for everyone, so not only for for Croats. So and exactly on that spot, I wanted to make something. And as I said, I tried to practice what Bogdanovic did. So I looked for an ancient tradition of Mostar, and one of that traditions is diving off of the old bridge. It's a tradition that exists already since the bridge has been built in the 16th century. And young men actually started to dive to impress women and prove their masculinity, but nowadays also women dive. And after the bridge was destroyed, they've also first made this jumping board because they wanted to keep on practicing diving. This is a bit what it looks like near the bridge. There's a diving kind of this diving institution next to it, and there are a lot of different men hanging out and just waiting during the day to take a plunge to practice. And what I think is special about diving is that these few seconds of the jump, you kind of mentally also become free of this burden of this divided city. And of course, it's a physical exercise as well. So I think this training is a very special one. And it's also one that connects people because every year there's a diving competition still held in Mostar, and people from different religious backgrounds also dive. So I designed a monument that is a tribute to diving, but also is a school for diving where you can practice on different levels. So each step is 50 centimeters high. So you can practice on different levels to dive with, of course, the old bridge as the last point of your practice. And this I didn't make as an idea for it to really be built. It was more to use it as an image to start a discussion about what kind of public space do we want in Mostar. This discussion started at the moment when Mostar became one of the candidates of European Capital of Culture for 2024. They were one of the 3 last candidates, and unfortunately they didn't win. But this proposal for a monument was used as a discussion for that, and I started to keep this discussion going. I started organizing diving workshops with one of the divers that wins every year during the diving competition. You see him here. This man with the tattoos, he's called Lorenz Listo. And we organized these diving classes with kids from different religious backgrounds. And he taught them how to dive, but he also spoke about what this tradition means for the city, for him. What could it mean for the children in the future? And this was a very special moment because for me it was also a moment when I realized that the monument wasn't the physical thing I designed. These workshops are the monument. This is something that could bring people together again in the city, and especially focusing on the youth and giving them a new face. But we couldn't go further with these workshops because Mostad lost a bit, but this diving champion Lorenz Listo, he took this workshop seriously, and he became a professional trainer. So he started his own school, and he trains kids. Like here you see Noura, she's 14 years old, and he trains her as a professional diver. Another project I will go through very quickly because I think my time is also almost up. It's a temporary monument I designed together with a collective called Bosnian Girl. It's called Srebrenica is Dutch history. Probably you all know a bit about it, but on July 11th last year, it was exactly 25 years since the genocide in Srebrenica in Bosnia took place. So more than 8,000 Bosnian Muslim men were murdered, and the Dutch UN battalion was supposed to provide protection, but they didn't succeed in that. And because we saw that the attention for this genocide every year in the Netherlands was less and less. So almost it wasn't a subject in newspapers each year. So we decided to start a campaign which demands more attention for the genocide in the Netherlands. And it's also legally proven that the Netherlands really had an important role, and that they were also really part of dividing men and women in buses. And these men got murdered. For us, it was really strange that there's also not a single national monument to commemorate this tragedy. So we started working on that, and we formed a collective with different Bosnian Dutch women from the Netherlands with different professional backgrounds, but also with different large networks. And we are called Bosnian Girl because of this artwork, which was made by Sheila Kameric, a Bosnian artist. And this text that you see is actually written by a Dutch military man from Dutchbat on one of the walls of the Dutch compound, which also tells us a bit what this image was of these men about Bosnian women. But what is powerful about this artwork is that she gives women a new face and a voice. So this is the original text in the compound. Our campaign existed out of a website, a video, petition, and a temporary monument. I will go to the monument immediately. But this website, it's actually more an educational website on which you can see, read different articles, watch different movies, read stories from Dutch, Bosnian Dutch men and women, look at movies, documentaries, and the petition actually was signed a lot, 70,000 times in the Netherlands, to accomplish our goals. So for the temporary monument, what we did is that we made 25 portraits of 25 25-year-old Bosnian Dutch men and women that are all connected in a way to this war or to Srebrenica, but also have different religious and ethnic backgrounds, which was also very important to us. And we made this temporary monument next to the parliament in The Hague, because we knew politicians are walking there every day. So we wanted to confront them with their faces, with the faces of this new generation standing up and saying, we think it's important to keep on remembering. And The Hague also decided that on the day of the commemoration, also because we had so much media attention with our campaign, that they are going to make a permanent monument in The Hague. So this is what it looked like. So actually all these faces, different faces staring at you, and underneath the faces were the were the small, were kind of small plates with on it the stories of these 25-year-olds. And what was special was during the commemoration that it was the first time that also the Minister of Defense was there, together with members of Dutchbat. So that was the first time when Dutchbatters came together, were in the same space as family members of victims. We also gave a speech, but I want to end with this. I think this image for me is really nice. This is this 25-year-old you see on the photograph. He's standing in front of his photograph, and he's a Bosnian Dutch guy with Croatian roots as well, and he works for Dutch military, and he's talking to one of the Dutchbatters. And I think that's the space we wanted to create for this conversation to happen. And at the moment, this temporary monument is traveling throughout the Netherlands. So till next 11th July, it will be in different cities. So this is where I wanted to end. Thank you very much.